One of the big changes that we're considering making in the fall of 2016 for the 2016-2017 school year has been something that we've been praying on and discussing and researching and thinking on now for almost a year, about a year and a half, and that is to move to a 4-day school week. There are several public and private, lots of public and private schools across the country that have moved to a 4-day school week and found it to be very successful as it relates to student learning and student outcomes and increase in test scores. And so, one of the changes that is coming for the fall of 2016 is that we're most likely moving to a 4-day school week. Right now, I would say that we are leaning heavily toward being off on Fridays and going to school Monday through Thursday. And I realize that for most people, that is a tremendous change. And that's one of the reasons that in the survey, we're asking you to give us your feedback about what you think about that after you learn more about that from this video. Obviously, one of the challenges with going to 4 days a week is just the student day, the day for the student, how the school day would go. And so that would require us to expand the day somewhat. We would have to start a little earlier and go a little later during those 4 days. But one of the things that we've been able to work out is that in those 4 days, we still can get in the same amount of instruction with expanding the day a little bit that we were able to get in 5 days. And so the school day would start a little bit earlier and end a little bit later. And in the survey, you're able to give us your thoughts on some options that we've given you about those times. Another thing that is a benefit for us as a small private school, Christian school, is that by only being open 4 days a week and not being open the fifth day, it allows us to minimize our expenses. And one of the challenges with being in a small private Christian school, being in our starting our fourth year this coming August, is just making things work financially. It's a challenge that public schools that bring in a lot more money still face, and we still have to deal with that as well. So it would minimize the amount of time, or excuse me, the money that we have to spend on being open that fifth day, and we believe that it can have a positive outcome. So as it relates to our calendar and what the calendar would look like for the school year, we would still start school and pretty much follow the same school calendar that the local county schools follow, in exception of a few days that you'll note in the survey where we would be open when the county schools are closed, or we would be closed when the county schools are open. And we're open a little bit also to the day of the week that we would consider closing each week. We're leaning heavily toward Fridays as being the day that we would be off. But we also want to get your feedback. We really don't feel like any other day is an option except Mondays, and it's definitely a second option for us, or the least option for us, but we want to see what you think about that as well. And so obviously between moving to 4 days a week and the school calendar and what the daily schedule will be like, the next thing that you might be asking is, well, what does that mean for tuition? What would that look like for tuition? Well, it would mean that tuition, this time last year we were having to make the announcement that tuition was going to increase for our third year. But the good news is that with going to 4 days a week, our tuition would decrease for the coming year quite substantially. Right now, if you look at our numbers, we were looking at about $4,800 for tuition for this school year. We've given discounts, and we've done the longer you stay, the less you pay promotional. We gave some promotional discounts to preschool and elementary students last spring. But it would allow us to drop the tuition to somewhere in the mid 3,000 range for tuition. Probably means that if we go with the lower $3,000 number, that we would have to eliminate any kind of tuition assistance, because it's all based on us being able to get enough students. So obviously, the more involvement we get from our current parents and student families and helping us grow the school, the lower the tuition has to be, because ultimately for us as a school, what we want to be able to do is to provide the very best Christian education we can, resources, tools, teachers, and environment for your students, and then we want to make the price as affordable as possible to ensure that as many students in our community get a chance to experience this as we can. So that's the short synopsis of some of the biggest changes that are coming for the fall of 2016, 2017. I hope that you'll take the time to fill out the survey about these. I have a couple of more videos that I'm going to shoot that will follow this, that will go along with the survey. So hope that you'll fill out the survey based on what I've shared with you, and I look forward to sharing more with you in just a little bit.